Hello everyone, welcome back. This is part 2 of the diff breeder upgrade. If you missed part 1, go check it out, especially if you're planning to keep using the factory Gore breeder. It's only about 64 liters per hour, and every extra foot of hose reduces flow, which really matters on a Jeep. All right, let's get started. We'll go ahead with the installation and relocating all the breeders. Okay, let's take a look at what we're going to need. We're going to need some zip ties. We're going to need 5/16 fuel line. We're going to need clamps. We're going to need sintered bronze. And by the way, all this information is going to be in the description. And I've purchased all these products from Amazon. All right, you're going to need 1/4-inch NPT to 5/16 bar connection for the fitting into the hose. You're going to need something to cut the hose as well as the zip ties. And you're going to have something to basically tighten this sintered bronze onto this NPT. So you can just use 2 wrenches like this. All right, guys, just a quick message before we go on. If you got anything out of this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Thanks for watching, and let's get back. So we're going to go ahead and get started with installing the breeder hose from the rear diff first. Now, spoiler alert, it's been a couple of months. It's been in the engine bay. It's working out super great. I love it. It's staying clean. It's doing a much better job than the factory stock breeder. But I'm going to need that long piece of tubing. I got the really good brand, and it was kind of expensive. So I need that for another project. I'm going to run it shorter tube into the tail light here, and that's actually better in terms of protection because it's protected from all sides from the Jeep structure, so it's completely enclosed. So we're going to do that now, and then I'll show you the clips from the other day where I ran it to the front into the engine bay, so you can choose whatever you want. If you want it all in the front in one place, you can do that. Otherwise, I would just run in the taillight. I think this is a better location. All right, so let's get started. To get the taillight off, we have to go inside the Jeep, and there is a little plastic screw in the back that we have to take off, and I'll show you that in a second. All right, so I have to take out a lot of stuff I have stored here in the corner. Now I'll do my best to show you the screw. All right, I'm going to do my best to show you this plastic screw. And you can also use a socket, so I'm going to use a 10mm socket actually to take it off. So here's the white screw I was talking about that you need to take off to take the tail light off. Okay, normally there's a little panel here that you have to take off first, and under here you can see that white screw that you have to take off to remove the tail light. And I just have mine off because I have a storage bin here. All right, so take it off. You want to use a 10mm socket. Just wash the tail light on this side. You'll be able to see both. Just to make sure the tail light doesn't come off. Okay, there we go. So this is actually a Torx bit, not a screwdriver. So you can use a Torx bit or a 10mm socket. All right, now to take off the tail light, it should just slide right out, just like that. Okay, now you have to pull off this red tab first. Okay, so once you've pulled out the red tab, you can just squeeze and pull it. If you're having problems, there is a little tab here, so you can use a flathead screwdriver, just put it right under it, lift it, and now you should be able to pull it right out. Just like that. All right, to show you better how I'm going to run this, I'm going to actually take off the rear fender. And to do that, you can actually grab it and sort of yank it out. But it's going to be kind of hard. The easier thing to do is to take these little push pins out first. So there's one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, one up here, and one up here. So take all those out, and then I'll show you what to do next. And you can use a little trim kit like this, or a pick, or even a screwdriver to get those push pins out. All right, so when you're taking these push pins out, some of them may break off, like that one. And that's okay, because I'll put the part number for these. You can order it from either Amazon or Mopar. They're cheaper from Amazon, so I'll have those in the description. And there is one over here too. Okay, now to take off the rear fender, you just basically take a hold of it and just give it a good pull. Now the edges are a little sharp, so you may want to wear gloves. Okay, now we're gonna feed the tube or the hose through the tail light opening. And so if you notice, I just taped a little, this is just a coat hanger. I bent it to be straight. I taped it to the tube, so make it easier to guide. So we're gonna go through this hole right here. I'll do my best to show you. And the coat hanger just makes it easier to guide it. So right there. All right. So now if you want, we can come over here and you'll see where it comes out. Comes out right here. Okay. I don't think we're going to need this anymore, so I'm just going to take the tape off. Okay. All right, and now I'm going to basically feed it right by here. I'll zip tie it here, I'll zip tie it here, and take it over the frame here. Let's see. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, we just want to make sure it doesn't interfere with the shock. And then we'll just zip tie it here. Now this is where one of the push pins is going to go in, but I'll show you what I'm going to do to make it fit. Okay, and here it is on the other side. And as you can see, it's coming right off where the normal factory hose would go. And so we're just going to take this off. And then once we take this off, we'll be able to run it right in the same spot down to the axle. All right, and here's the final product. So as you can see, it comes out right here, goes by where the factory was hooked up, and down here, and into the axle. And I made it a little bit longer than the factory, just in case if I want to put in a lift or just to have more room for droop. All right, and here's how it's zip tied right over there. Okay, we're gonna put the taillight back in. Okay, actually I'm gonna measure to see how high up it is. So about 49 inches. Okay, versus the in front. In the engine bay, it's about 50 to 50.5 inches. So just 1 inch lower. But like I said before, if you get water up this high, you have other problems. So that's much, much higher than the factory. I finished with the tail light, and I also pulled the other one off. And while I was doing that, these boxes showed up from Metal Cloak. So subscribe to see what I'm going to do with that. That's it's like Christmas. All right. Here. So now let me show you how to put the fender back on. Now, I have a pretty detailed video on how to remove the fender, especially the front fender, in my oxygen sensor video. I'll link that in the description. So check that out. I'll put the time mark on it so you can go straight to that so you can see how to take off the front fender on and off. But for the rear, I'll real quick show you what we need to do. And it's always a good idea to have these extras, these fender clips on hand. I got these from Amazon. You can buy them from Mopar too. I'll put the part number in the description, but they're very expensive. So from Amazon, there's a bunch of different vendors that use them, and I think tried most of them. And they're all not very good with the exception of this one vendor. So I'll put that in the description. These are the best ones that I've been able to find. And these actually have a little clip here too, which the other ones didn't. And so I think that's also helpful in retaining them. So let me show you what we need to do here. So basically, you see these spots all around the fender. We need to slide these right in here. So you push it right in, just like that. Now we need to repeat this for all the rest of them. Okay, now one of these locations where this push pin goes in has this zip tie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave the side of one of these push pins so I can still push it in. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so we're just going to take this and shave the side. One side off. Okay, and that should be good. Install the fender back. You line up these with the holes here and then just push it in. Okay. And now we're going to put the push pins in. Okay, and now for the last one where we shaved off one side. And there we go. All right, guys, so here's how I'm going to run the new breather hose from right here on the rear diff. As you can see, the factory goes up here and ends right here. So I'm going to follow the same path here. And then I'm going to come up above, right up on top here. And let me show you on the other side. It'll be easier to see how I'm going to route it. As you can see, there's a gap right here. And the wiring harness. Let me get closer in. Right here. And the wiring harness that runs all the way across here, down, and right by the gas tank. So I'm going to just follow that wiring harness up here and over this frame so it doesn't interfere with any of the suspension components, and then move on forward and run it onto the engine bay. As you can see, here's the breather hose. I've run it to here, and what I've done is I've utilized these little holes that are here for the Christmas tree clips for the fender. You can see there is the zip tie that's holding the hose in the wheel well. I brought it through here. I'm using another zip tie and I've connected it to this bracket. There is a steel bracket right in here. And then I have it going here, right by the gas tank, you can see. And I'm gonna run it all the way down. Okay, again, we have the hose going right here, right through here, right through there. I showed where I zip locked it there. And then it goes right on top of the frame here. And I have it zip tied here and there to the frame, and I'm going to zip tie it here in the middle as well. Okay, and here's where I have it zip tied to the frame right here before it goes up into the engine bay. So, and it was hard to see, but it runs right along here all the way to the top. Okay, so here we go. I have it zip tied here, zip tied here, and on the other side, right along to over here, zip tied here. And I'm gonna cut it off, and all my breather hoses are gonna terminate right here. Okay, now that I've taken the fender off, you can really see the breather hose. And it ends right here. So that's it right there. And you can see the mechanism. It's just this little valve that basically when the air gets sucked in, it just shuts out, or it moves up. It moves up when the air expands. So it comes up right here, goes behind here, right over here, down over, and ends right there. We're just gonna cut a larger piece, bring it up through here, up into the engine bay, and over, and terminate it right here where the rear diff breather hose also terminates. Taking out the small hose that was connected to the front differential. I've reused the clips and the protection and used it for the new cable. So it's going in here at the diff, and there's a clip that I reused, the padding I reused. I brought along the same pad, zip tied it in the same locations, and took it behind here just like the old one. Zip tied, but where it ends here, I've continued it up and around the water container here. And it comes over here, zip tied to here, zip tied to here, and zip tied to here. Okay, and here's the final product. So we have the front differential, and this is the rear differential. Okay, the breather for the transfer case. This is looking towards the front of the Jeep. If you come under here, it's really in a tough spot. You sort of can see it. I tried to point it out here. let's try it from this side. All right, another try. Here's the transfer case. This is the drive shaft going to the rear differential. Okay, attempt number 5. Okay, I'm going to take this skid off to make it easier to get to the bleeder hose. Okay. So these two are, this one is 13 millimeter and 13 millimeter, two 13 millimeters. Okay, so I think we'll clean this up, and we probably need to paint it on the bottom. There's a lot of scratches, so it's a good idea to take it off now. We need to do some maintenance under here after off-roading for the winter time, just to make sure everything's protected and doesn't rust. Okay, and here's the breather hose for the transfer case. So it's just sort of sitting on top of the transfer case, and you can see by all the dirt and mud, yeah, there's a chance that something got in there. So I probably have to change the fluid, or I'll check the fluid, and let's see if we can put on a new hose and take it up to the top of the engine bay. Okay, getting this hose on the nipple was not easy. It took me a while to get it in, but I did. I've run it up here, zip tied to here, zip tied here, going right over here as far as possible from the exhaust pipe, so it shouldn't be an issue. Then goes in here, goes right on top of this cross member, so it's protected from everything, all the way to the front, and I'll show you the rest of the way. The hose right on top of this frame, all the way to the end there, and it's zip tied away from everything. And then coming up here, you can see it comes up right there at the end of the frame, and right over here, and then it comes up here and ends up right over here. And so this is it right here. Okay, this is the transmission breather, and when I take this cap off, look how dirty that is. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna run it over there and put one of these filters, and that's going to be much better for transmission. Okay, actually I was able to move it to over here, so this is going to be the transmission, and so they're all on this side now, which is better, and I can see them all when I open the hood. They're very high up, no problems on water. Okay, initially I had bought this manifold, and the reason behind that was I was gonna run basically all the hoses to 4 of these ports, and then I was gonna put 4 of these filters here on top, And the reasoning behind that was that if one gets clogged, you still had, others that would function and it wouldn't be a problem. But looking at these filters, these are used in very demanding industrial applications. And so they're perfect. I don't think I'll have any problems with them. And I actually like it in this setup better. This is just one more piece, but that was the idea behind it. And it has mounting holes here too, so I was gonna basically mount it here in this corner, like that. But yeah, I mean, if you still want to do it, I'll put the description in the link below. I got it from Amazon, but I like it the way it is here. I don't think it's going to be issued. The only positive with this, in my thinking, was that you would have 4 filters. If 1, 2, or even 3 got clogged, you still would be fine because this one would be working. But after doing a lot of research on these filters, they're such high quality and they're used in very demanding industrial applications that have to run 24 hours in much more difficult situations. So I think I'm good. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or want to see more content like it, please consider subscribing and give a thumbs up. If you have any ideas or comments about what you want to see in the future, please comment below, and I'll see you on the next one.